You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kerbyson and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kerbyson, joined with Reed Bacon. As you can tell, your boy lost his voice in a fantastic victory over the Gamecocks. And we're going to break down all of it, go over offense, go over defense, talk about Spencer Rattler and his stupid comments, and what to look forward to in the bye week. But first, before we get into any of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Leroy!
Start the thing up, baby.
Oh gosh, man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's nice. It's nice.
To win, huh?
It was a nice win. I'm excited to dive into it, break it down. Three things. It was great seeing you. It was great having you in. I enjoy our time together so much. It's you're Knoxville, I'm Nashville. I moved back from Nashville. You moved to Nashville. Just painful, because if not, I'm assuming we would see each other quite often, whether it's for golf or watching these games together, or just doing the pod together. So we'd see each other so much. So I enjoy that tremendously. My three overviews, I can't start anywhere else. I pause. This is not more important than Brew McCoy's, and I'm going to get there. But I just want to start by saying thank you so much to all the people that came up to us. It is literally the best thing.
Yeah.
It is the best thing, and I appreciate you all, each and every one of you. If it's just a yell, if you come up and talk to us for a minute, if you just dap us up, give us knuckles, it means the world. And I think it's great that the first person, we just gotten out of the car, start walking to the Spire or Volunteer Club tailgate, and this lady jumps out and she goes, I listened to your all's pod, and we're like, oh, that's
hey, listen, my first reaction is, wow, we have women who listen to our podcast. I literally was like, it's probably just all dudes that listen to this.
Yeah, no, and she jumps out and she's like, hey, you guys, it was like, I think she said, you guys do the pod, and we were like, yeah, and she's like, oh, I listened to you guys. Well, ended up being Miss Castle. So yes. As I say, McChicken, which I had to explain to her was, it was not calling him a chicken. It was just a play on words with, McNuggets, a McDouble. But Miss Castle was awesome to talk to. She was great. I love that she's told you, she's like, well, you're a lot bigger. And I was like, he played here, right? And she's like, yeah, I knew, but I just wasn't expecting that. And then, of course,
she was like, all I see is like your head on the thing.
Yeah.
And then you were like, do I look bigger? And she's like, no.
I was trying to set her up. I was just messing. I was like, do I look any bigger? And she's like, no. And then she goes, and you always sit really close to the camera. I was like, yeah, I know. But it was, and then of course I was like, hey, I hope I hadn't said anything bad about your son, which is true. We do love.
You keep saying one of McChicken.
I know. We do love McChicken. We do love McCall Castle.
Yes.
He is. Matter of fact, I have a note in here. One of the last notes I just wrote down was, I really wish he hadn't have slipped on that QB or that tight end screen, because it was a great play call, and I'd love to see him open field it. We'll get there, but It was great to talk with her. She seems like such a sweetheart. You know what she kind of felt like? We didn't talk to her too long, but she just felt like one of the moms of one of our buddies that we would have grown up with, and she just seems like she'd been one of those cool moms and a football type mom that we grew up around. But so she was great, and then I wrote down. Jack came back up to us, which was hilarious. He was who I saw at Vol Shop. He came and said something to us. And then I don't know if it was Cole Holcomb or Drew Holcomb, and I'm so sorry. We try to ask names. Yeah. I didn't write them in my phone quick enough. But thank you for saying something. And then we had Tanner Ross, who said something to us. He was in our aisle where we were sitting, so got to see him. Shout out to them. And then we had one more, which was great, as we were walking through G10. He goes, Pancakes and Bacon. We're like, what's up? He's like, love y'all show. And we're like, hey, thanks a lot. And he goes, man, I got to get a selfie. And we're like, let's do it. And I wish we asked his name. I asked his name. I forget it. So you know who you are. I apologize, but that was awesome. We love jumping in on the selfie. And then
and hey, y'all, when we take pictures together, post it and tag us. Tag us on Twitter, tag us on Instagram. We want to see it.
I would love to see it. And then Nathan, man. Nathan Hughes, one of our good, been one of our most loyal followers. We might have been getting like 30 views or 30 listens, and Nathan was probably 5 of them. And he's a special guy.
It was my mom, your mom, our grandparents, and Nathan. Like that was it.
Honestly, not even my mom. So it was Nathan cared more for it than even my mom. But no, he's funny. He's a great dude. I enjoy talking with him and getting to know him. So shout out to him. It was great to, meet his family and stuff. Anyways, second, the booze for Kamal Hadden, super lame. I know that I get why. I don't get it, because it just means you don't really know what you're watching. He's had 2 primetime moments that have not been good, but if you've watched a lot of his other stuff like we have, he's a good player. We all make mistakes. It just thinks that his mistakes were the blown tackle against Florida, which it's not like he was the sole reason they scored. It just looked the worst. There was a lot of other people that missed tackles or missed their gaps. And then talking to Shane Beamer last year when we were getting beat. But the guys played a lot of good football for us. And just like I mentioned while you were gone, and I felt like people were booing Coach Heupel and the team, if you're going to boo, I don't like it. But if you're going to do it, I guess, to the whole team while they're out there, or to the coaching staff if you don't like a decision they're making. But during an intro, when you know specifically who the young man is, like, that's lame to me. And if I was him, I'd have the same attitude, like, F y'all, like, I'm out here balling for my teammates.
And someone made a good point online. It was like, hey, if you're going to boo him during his introduction, you better not cheer when he makes a pick 6. Yeah. If you think he's such a bad player and he shouldn't be out there, then what the hell are you cheering about?
Yeah.
You should be pissed off.
It's just lame to see. It's lame to see because these guys are college kids. It's lame to see that because I guarantee you 100% of the people booing were nowhere near as good as the football player he is. They've never done what he's done for the University of Tennessee, meaning if he's had some bad plays, well, they haven't made the good plays that he's made. So I hate to see that. And then lastly, I've said it so many times, injuries are the worst part of football in any sport. What individuals go through on a 365-day basis to put yourself in position to play a 60-minute game is it's second to none. It is so difficult. It's grueling. It's hard. And as much as we love football, we've always said, everything else about it can really suck because you have to put in a lot of hours and a lot of hard work, and your payoff is those games and is your season. And so whether it had been Brew, someone else on our team, someone else on South Carolina's team, it would have bothered me. I hate to see it, but for Brew to have gone what he's gone through, to been nothing but
exceptional.
Amazing. Exactly. Nothing but amazing the entire time he's been here, whether it's on the field, off the field, in the locker room. All those guys speak so highly of him. And it was honestly heartbreaking. And I looked at you and I said, man, I don't even hate this for our team aspect. Like, I hate it for him personally as of finishing his senior year, getting ready to go to the combine and do his pro day and what he was going to be able to hopefully achieve. And he'll still have those things in front of him. It's just a setback. And I just sat up there and I just said a quick, I'm a believer. So I said a quick prayer for him and his family and his recovery. And it's just, man, it was awful. It's awful. It's the worst part.
Yeah, it really is the worst part about the sport. And, Brew, I mean, I got sad like rewatching the game, like watching him catch a slant, watching him like recover the fumble when Jabari got hit, like and we've talked about it all year. Like he's that leader in the wide receiver room. He's the one who leads from the front, and he shows out when he's out there on the field. And it doesn't mean, oh, he gets every catch and he has a bunch of yards and touchdowns. No, when he does, he runs people over. When he's in there and he's supposed to block for a run play, he runs people over. So it's like he leads by example. His presence, the fact that he's a transfer, like he hasn't been here the whole time. This was his chance to kind of show what he could do. He wasn't getting a fair shake. And man, it just sucks, dude. Like I absolutely hate it for him. But it's still early in the year. Hopefully he has enough time to recover before pro day, combine, all that kind of stuff. And he can still put a good showing for the next level because he deserves to be there,
Yeah, and you were mentioning, you've said multiple times, you feel like he's the leader of the wide receiver room. I think I feel very comfortable saying he's one of the leaders of the team.
Yeah.
With the entire team. I don't want to it's almost like doing him a discredit by saying just the wide receiver room.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, he's a captain. So,
and what's funny, Kyler, is like, or not funny, but it just he got hurt doing what he does best, fighting for extra yards, bullying people, and so that's tough. But yeah, Brew is he made an impact in a quick 2 years, and so it's a massive shout out to him. He'll always have one of the biggest catches in University of Tennessee history. And so he'll always be able to have that, which is great. So anyways, like I said, praying for him. And what's your overviews? Anything that I've kind of mentioned all those, any overviews that you have?
That's about it. I'm very, very happy we won this game. We talked about it before, how huge it was going into the bye week. I'm very happy that I got to come into Knoxville and hang out with you for like 10 hours. And again, just shout out all the people who walked up to us and said something. Like it really does make our day. And it really makes it feel like, wow, this like people actually listen to us. Like it's kind of like, surprising when someone comes up to us. So
I forgot to mention, and I forget he told me his name, and I forgot it. But I was walking down. I think it was right before half, and I just hear Reed, and I'm like, what? And then I hear Reed, and I turn around, and the dude's right there. And he's like, "What's up, man?" And he like puts his hands out to like knuckle, and I'm sitting here thinking like, "Yo, is this somebody I'm supposed to know?" Because it's like if they don't say Pancakes and Bacon or I love the pod, then it doesn't resonate. I'm thinking like, oh, is this someone I used to go to Catholic with, or is this someone? And then he's like, man, I love the pod. And like his energy was second to none. I was like, yes, and I felt bad not standing there and talking with him. I actually had to make it to the little boys' room. I might have been the only person out of the 100,000 people in the stadium that when we walked in, you got 2 beers and I went and got a coffee from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I think so. I immediately found the beer line. I was like, give me 2 tall boys with the highest ABV you got.
Yeah.
And Reed was like, where's the coffee at?
I just needed my afternoon, my evening pick-me-up, which it was great. It was so relaxing sitting up there. By the way, we'll get into it. This is the second time I've been up in HH, and I love those seats. I love them.
It was beautiful too. The sun was setting behind the stadium. It was incredible.
I've gotten so lucky because last year when I was there for Bama, beautiful night, beautiful day, sunset. So it's very peaceful up there. And like I said, I love getting to see everything. But yeah, I'm just sitting there and we're sitting there talking. We got about 20 minutes before game time, and you're enjoying your brew, and I'm enjoying my black coffee, and we're just soaking it in, getting ready to go to battle.
I love it.
I know. I do too. Where do you want to start? Do you want to go offense, defense? We go offense. Oh, you got offense up there.
Yeah, let's jump into the offense. Overview. I've named the segment balanced offense. We had 328 yards rushing and 329 yards passing.
238, 239. You said
that's
3.
What I meant. So we were as balanced as possible. And I really like the performance. The fact that Joe threw 2 picks and, we had multiple punts and we still scored 41 points. It's like, that's a legit offense to be able to keep up with that.
Well, Kamal had 9 of those, or 7 of those.
That's true. Yeah. Kamal put in a little bit of work for that too. But I mean, what else can you praise besides that offensive line? Like, if other guys weren't up to it, weren't performing well, that offensive line was road grading dudes. They were finishing their blocks. They were picking up on pass pro. I mean, I was so impressed. Just rewatching, seeing the communication, seeing the holes that were opening up. I mean, the trap and the tackle trap and tackle power that we run are like amazing plays that the guys know like the back of their hand, and they perform every single time. It is a great blocking scheme. John Campbell loves finishing dudes. I saw him flying across the screen multiple times. Cooper being back was such a huge addition, and just getting guys lined up, getting guys set. You notice he's finding where the ball gets spotted first. That's what he's always looking for. So he helps with the tempo. He helps with understanding, all right, I'm picking up this linebacker, running back, you're getting this linebacker. I thought pass pro was great. I thought there was a lot of times Joe had forever to throw the ball, and just had to scramble around a little bit. But I'm very proud of the offensive line, and we'll get into the other side of the ball in that line of scrimmage, which was amazing. But yeah, just overview, I was just very impressed with the offensive line and the running backs. Like I said a couple weeks ago, with them finding holes. I mean, those guys are incredible. The patience they have in the backfield, whether it's bouncing it outside, whether it's just waiting for your puller, whether it's just squeezing through a little A-gap crack, like, it's incredible.
Yeah, that's why I love HH, man. I get to sit up there and I look a lot smarter than I am because I see these things open up. Last year I've told the story against Bama. I'm putting my hand up saying 6 before Hendo's even let the ball loose, but I see these guys running free. And just like this time, I see the blocks and the very first touchdown, I'm seeing that hole and I'm like hitting you. I'm like, well, we got a chance here. And he gets through the crack, makes one guy miss, and we house called. So it's great to see those things open up. I agree with you on the offensive line played well. I thought my favorite plays, no exaggeration, one of my favorite plays, and I told you this while we were there, was Joe when he got out of the pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, one was like a 6-yard gain, and I was just so happy. I said, there it is. That's what you have to do. Get out of the pocket, get your eyes downfield, and just get positive yardage. And then the next 2, one was a free play later in the game. He got out of pocket. And another one, he got out of the pocket beautifully, kept his eyes downfield and threw a nice ball to Jacob and got called back. So 2 of them were penalties, but just seeing those just gave me so much.
Yeah, and then he had one for a first down scramble.
Yeah, and it gave me so much confidence, and I was just able to sit up there and just take a breath of fresh air. Like, okay, he's doing that tonight. Great. There's some plays. We watched you and I left. My mom picked us up. We went to McDonald's. We got some late night food, and then we sat there and we wanted to watch a little bit of the game together. We were excited to see it on TV, and you about pooped your pants when the very first play they jet it right in the back, in the front side guard pulls the other way. Just that little bit of magic. And so I have that here, pull guard opposite direction. I love that.
We used to do shit like that when I played. It was just like trying to confuse the hell out of people, and just having so many options off what we're doing. Like, I love the fastest guy on our team in Squirrel White coming on a sweep, like jet motion him over, because there's so many different things you can do off of it. And I can't wait to see empty backfield set with maybe a tight end up on the line, and they motion over Squirrel, and Joe just does like the little play action, reads the defensive end, and just follows behind Jacob and the quarterback power. I can't wait. It's coming, and it's going to be magical because it's going to be right down towards the goal line, and it'll be a touchdown.
I remember I told you I thought that's what was coming when we had the shuttle pass. It was incomplete. But anyways, 3rd and 2, man. 3rd and 2, we get back to pitch and catch. 3rd and 2, we could have run it, and you said, you know what, we're going to go wide side of the field. Inside guy, sorry for the hand motions again, inside guy just runs off, runs a go, and all he's doing is clearing for the wide slant to come in, pitch and catch. Then I love the hitch and that we ran later. If they're going to give Squirrel or the slot guy a lot of room, just pitch and catch a hitch. And then, as I already mentioned, the patient running by Jalen, the hold to literally squeeze through, get skinny. You know, they used to tell us that all the time. I used to hear get skinny when I was playing, you know, outside backer, or when I was coming on a blitz, get skinny, baby, turn, get through there, you know, and it was almost like Jalen was so patient, got skinny, got to the open field, made his one guy miss, house call. So
yeah, I mean, in some of the stuff to set that up, like there was a little like wide receiver screen to Squirrel. Ollie Lane was getting out there and making blocks for him. There was a pitch to Jalen Wright to the outside. Mincy does like a perfect job of just like hooking Buddy like right on the hip, just enough to where Jalen can get outside, which I absolutely loved. And then that touchdown run, like when they showed it from the back and you see 2 double teams, both guys on each other, and you don't see anything between them, right? All black jerseys. There's no white from the away team coming through that. That is a double team. There's no gaps. There's no spacing. We're right on top of each other. We're working up to the second level, and they get there. So, yeah, it was a thing of beauty. That's exactly what every O-line coach pulls up on film. He's like, look at these flat backs. Look at this spacing. There's nothing getting through the 2 of you, because that's all defensive line are trying to do is split the double team. Yep. So, incredible.
To continue going, offense, Old Coop got swim move. It's okay. First game back. I thought he played a good game. He got swim move, but this is the one where Joe got out of the pocket early in the game, and I said, okay, I feel comfortable. Then you got a great pocket. Bad decision by Joe. I got to see the pick because I think at this point I was going and either getting hot dogs and some food, or I was going to the bathroom. But I come back, I hear it, and I'm here like, oh, and then I come back and ask you. And so I was excited to see it on TV.
Yeah.
Bad throw, or excuse me, not necessarily bad throw. It was just a bad decision. And Squirrel ran another hitch and was wide open in the right side slot. So it's like Joe didn't.
That's exactly what I wrote down too. I was like, Squirrel's wide open. South Carolina did a good job of disguising it, making it look like cover 2 when the ball snapped. But it is kind of like, Joe, that's why you're there, right? Like you're there to determine what the defense is doing and make the best decision for the team. So I'm going to hold you to that. Because, like, if you're not better at that than the guy behind you, then why are you there?
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you said it like that, because what I was going to say is Heupel can draw it up, but you can't decide where you're going before it's there. That might be your number one option. That doesn't mean it's going to be there. So it's, hey, if you look that off, you got to come back and you got to hit Squirrel. And that's not an attack. That's just the difference between quarterback play we're having right now compared to what we've had last year. And last year includes Joe in that Orange Bowl. So, you know, those are in games against a Georgia or an Alabama or even against Texas A&M. Like, you got to take what's open. So,
exactly.
Let's see. Continuing offense, Jabari run, Squirrel catch. Oh, yeah. So this is the offensive drive. And I looked at you and I said, hey, this is one of the biggest drives probably of the year so far. You know,
yeah, because this is us down 7-10.
Yeah, yeah, and man, they answered. They answered perfectly. You know, Jabari had some good runs, Squirrel with his catch, and then you punch it in. And you know what? Joe might have thrown this one like it was a dang punt, but he didn't overthrow it and he didn't underthrow it. He threw it up there and gave the smallest guy on the team a chance to go up and get it. And Squirrel caught it.
Squirrel caught it with both hands and a leg. If you go back and watch, he like holds his leg up to like almost catch the ball against it. But fantastic. awareness by him. I swear, like, and we don't like to talk like about the refs when we come on here because it's like, listen, you got to make plays when they present themselves.
Right.
But you know what? Just let me know before the game that you're not going to call anything, because it was just like I just kept seeing penalties on every play. Like I was just like, oh, there's a targeting on Jabari's fumble. Oh, there's a PI on Squirrel's catch. Oh, there's a holding on Spencer Rattler's touchdown. I'm like, what is, like, y'all aren't looking at anything. Like, I'm noticing it, and it's insane. But
that's half the reason you don't. That's half the reason you don't have your voice right now. Is because you were
yeah, because I'm yelling at them dumbasses.
You were going bananas as if they were going to hear you from thousands and thousands of feet away.
Listen, I got the steam off. Okay, that's all that matters.
Shovel pass, nice job by Joe to play it off, get it to Dylan, and then great blocking by Ollie, Castle, and Cooper. I mean, yeah. It was very, very nicely done. They sealed it. It was.
I love that play. Absolutely love that.
You do love that play.
I mean, it's such a cool setup. It is a great play. Let me tell you this. It is a great play for an offensive lineman to confuse a defensive lineman. It is a great play where, hey, this is technically a pass, but I can set it up like I'm run blocking you, or I can set it up like I'm pass blocking you, or a jump set, or any, like, if there's those kinds of plays that I can kind of work around as an offensive lineman and almost confuse them, then it's great. Like, there were times on, like, backside, if I was backside and it was like a sweep away from me, that I would literally get in a pass set stance, like it was an obvious passing and kick. And it would be like, I wonder if someone's queuing on me. Does that linebacker think this is a pass, I'm backing up? So I would just, like, try and fuck with them as much as I could.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, speaking
plays like that lit you.
Well, speaking of messing with people, it's the neck. It's a 1st and 15 after a penalty. They have Dylan in the back. They bring him in motion, and South Carolina gets at one of these. So they have a check. They come here, and I don't know if that was film study on our part or if it just worked out perfectly, but they put 3 out there, empty box. South Carolina checks, and that guy who checked it, he was one of the linebackers, the middle linebacker, and he came. And so Joe looks out there, a number or an inside safety or nickel corner or whatever is going out there to follow Dylan, and McCall and Castle comes right behind it. Another pitch and catch. There was no one in the middle of the field because both those linebackers came, and that could have been a check, not because he went out, but because there's no back. And so they're saying, hey, no back, we're bringing pressure here, making him throw it. And Joe did it perfectly. Castle caught it, got upfield. It was super nice. And then let's see. Did they have another shovel pass here? Because I have shovel pass, nicely executed block, 3rd and 5. Show blitz, drop 7 and covers. Nice ball by Dylan. Nice play.
Oh no, we got down towards the end zone. Like I thought there was a nice out route to Squirrel. Like I thought that was I thought that was good. And honestly, like, when I think about it, I'm like, dude, that could have been open all night. Like, the way the inside guy was playing over the slot receiver, like kind of playing inside all night. It's like, give me more out routes.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Kyler, it's either a deep safety that's over him, or if they want to play either zone or 2-man under, which 2-man under would be like man coverage underneath 2 high safeties. But they literally are even having a deep safety at like 15 yards, and you can do an out route. Or, like you said, they're having the guy that's up on him but doing inside shade. So you're right. It could have been there all night. This was my notes of what happened that drive, of why we had to settle for 3. South Carolina showed blitz. They did a good job of dropping 7 in coverage. Dylan had a nice block. And I looked at you. I said, man, that was a pretty good ball by Joe, like, up in the stands. That was the only place he could really put it. And that's a tough catch by Ramel. I mean, it's not a fault. That's not a bad pass. That's not a drop. I mean, technically it's a drop, but I'm not like, oh, you should have had that. It was kind of like, hey, let's give it a chance. It wasn't there, didn't complete it. It's okay. Let's kick a field goal and move on.
I'm totally fine with it. That's where Joe should have let the ball go. I trust Ramel to come down with that. That's who I would have gone to. Even how the DBs were aligned, that's who I would have gone to. Like I said, he had inside coverage on it. Like he was bumped to the inside of Ramel. Like it opens up the corner for him.
Yeah.
And it's just like maybe get a little bit more separation. Ramel, maybe give him a little bit more of a head fake inside to kind of open you up. But, I agreed with the decision. It didn't execute, but that's fine. We're still up 7 with the field goal.
Yeah, I thought South Carolina's DBs had pretty good coverage a lot of the night.
Yeah.
If you look at even the ones that we did complete, whether some of them were PIs or maybe not, but the Jacob touchdown, good coverage. The one that they did pick off to Jacob, good coverage. That one to Ramel. The Squirrel White one, yes, PI, but the guy was there. I thought they had some bigger DBs that were long and could move, and a couple of them were youngsters. So I thought they played pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, and they were on the slants, like that first third down that we completed a Brew, like they were all over him. There was a third down later in the game. We were trying to complete the Castle. He was all over him. Like they played good man coverage.
That was the next one I have is the 3rd and 5. They ran Castle. He was the slot. They ran him in on a slant/post. And then Ramel was on the outside. Ramel had his guy really playing off, so the hitch would have been there. The only thing is it is a very, very long throw from left side, left hash, all the way to the right side boundary. I trust Joe to get it there if it's on time. But I would have liked – and I don't know how they were teaching Castle because I don't know if it was a slant or more of a post. But he kind of went up and didn't get a big stick outside and back in because he is a bigger guy. So if you get that stick outside and come and just make it, if you're watching, make it a little bit flatter. And I'm not saying like this flat to where it's an in or a dig. I'm saying more like this than this because then that gives more back and more body for Joe to hit him. But it's okay. It was good coverage. I don't think it was anything bad really by anybody. It was just a good play by them. But
Joe probably could have led him a little bit more, but in a perfect throw, he could have let him, but
right.
Still hit him in the hands, still right there.
And that's just me being like, hey, how's Halsey, how's Heupel, how's Cody Burns telling them to run that route? Was it a slant or was it more of a real skinny post type deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Offense after half, nice pocket. Joe doesn't see anything he likes. Get out perfectly.
Just run. That was that first down I was talking about. Then this drive, we just started road grading them. I'm talking about road grading. Like it was just hole after hole after hole. We were dumping bodies over top of the running back. Like, tabletop pancakes are some of my favorite. But yeah, it was just rolling as we just went down there. Then we had the play towards the end zone of the motion squirrel attempted shovel pass, which I like the play call. I like the way it looks. 2 things happen. Defensive end doesn't fall for the squirrel motion and sweep, and Coop kind of misses on his back block. And it just kind of tightens right around Dylan to where we can't really get it off. But it's great because it's an incomplete pass, right? It's not a fumble. It's easy. Just throw it at his feet, and we're fine. Play the next down.
No, completely agree. That touchdown, that was one of the best throws I've seen. That was a high level throw. One of the best throws I've seen Joe make. One of the better throws I've probably seen a quarterback make in a while, and I love what they did with Jacob. It's I think it was 3rd down, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it written down, but they have him back. So. They have him back at H-back, and so he's kind of maybe not full H-back. Maybe he was just offset behind the tackle a little bit, but they have him up and out. And the throw, when he starts on his up, and that throw, in practice when they've done that, they've just said, hey, the DB is going to be giving you his back. Jacob's 9 feet tall. Just throw it up to his hands and to that spot. And it was a thing of beauty. It it looked easy, but that is not an easy. I mean, got to worry about kind of turning almost like a back shoulder. He's got to worry about the end zone. The guy is right in his face. So it was almost like when we had that, I was like I didn't even celebrate. I was like kind of like caught off. I was like, dang, like that was kind of nice. Like that was
which is why I was surprised he threw the pick later. I was like, throw the same kind of ball to Jacob on that little seam he's got. Like just get it high as you can. Maybe back shoulder, let Jacob turn around for it. But yeah, I mean that touchdown throw was great. I love the fact that he went to Jacob too.
Yeah, I do too. It's a nice mismatch, and then Jacob just being the caliber of individual he is, hits you with the 1-5 heart. Like to have that mentality in the heat of the moment. I mean, he could have easily celebrated for himself, but he's immediately thinking of his guy, immediately thinking of his teammates. So you love to see that.
Yeah.
Continuing on offense, third and 9. Great job by Ollie and Joe. Chaz just has to catch that. I mean, and he's still a younger guy.
And hey, we're throwing you in.
Got to be ready, man.
Got to be ready.
That's the thing. That's the thing when you get to that level, it's not like they're going to throw you in and you can hide because you never know when it's coming your way. And he ran a good route. He was open. He stemmed the guy well and then hits it right in your face. It's like, hey, when you're in, like you've practiced well enough to get in. So when you get in, you have to be ready. You can't go in thinking, well, I'll just do a bunch of my runoffs because we're running it behind me or go stock block. Like, no, it's a third down and Joe's ripping one to you. You got to make that catch.
Yeah.
It's good learning.
Listen, Chaz, it's not that bad. My first play where I had to sub in for somebody, I jumped off sides. So it could be worse.
And got pulled.
And literally ruined a drive, but whatever.
Yeah. Against Florida, right?
Yeah, against Florida.
What a loser. Okay, now we're back. Now we're back to the play that you were just talking about with Jacob, the other one. I was up there and I was watching it, and I got in a habit where I wasn't watching the play. I started watching our receivers because I was watching up top, and I see the guy over Squirrel's probably 8-9 yards, maybe 10 yards, and he's got the little bit of inside shade. And I looked at you, I said, slot shot's going to be there with Squirrel, and it was. And the thing about it is, besides Squirrel having the speed, it was the wide side of the field, and I would have loved for him to go there. He looked that way, but it was a total just, I'm not looking to look. I'm looking to look off. And then he comes back, and I don't mind the decision to Jacob, but throw a little bit more so Jacob can either run under it and hold Buddy off on his back, throw it a little bit higher so Jacob can try to go up and highball it, or do a back shoulder. He basically played a little bit of 500 or jackpot and just kind of like he tried to place it instead of just like let it flow. Let it go. So
yeah, I agree, and I feel like it's even more of a let it flow kind of thing when you're working with a 6'6", 260 buddy. It's just like, hey, give him a shot. Like having it be a low trajectory and a little bit behind is like he doesn't have a shot right. At all. But it's like you got this big dude, throw it up, get some air underneath it,
right?
Have it come down on him.
This isn't necessarily offensively; it's special teams. I hated that for D. Williams because what an individual effort.
Yeah.
And that would have, everyone wants him to get one. That would have blown it did blow the doors and the ceiling off the stadium. And I went back and watched it. And I was happy that they replayed to show the block. And people could say that maybe didn't affect it. That guy could have had a chance to get in the mix. I mean, it wasn't a blatant, that guy, it wouldn't have affected it. It was early enough on. The guy was still deep enough. And it was just, you just can't do it. It was just a dumb play, but it was still a very nice individual effort. And then lastly, Kyler, I'm gonna let you take whatever you want to finish on offensively. I already talked about. I love the tight end screen. I love that call, and I love going to Castle and letting him open field it. I want to see, is he gonna take off like he did in the Austin P game, make some guys miss, and you could see one of the offensive linemen going, "Oh no," because we had the numbers. It was designed well, and I think and they felt what we felt like that could have been 6. So
yeah, it could have been huge. I almost like felt bad for Castle. Like it's like, damn it, dude! Like you had it, you were that close. I think later on there was a third down, or it was second down, but Chase did a great job at running his little slant route, getting separation on a corner, and caught a first down. So Chaz. So he like redeemed himself later. So like kind of wanted to shout him out for that. And the play where we brought Jacob in motion and then he just continued into the flat. It looked like they literally set it up because the offensive line blocked it that way, like it was going to be a power. Because they do the same thing with Jacob, where they motion him across the formation and have him stop right behind the tackle. And then right when he stops, we run it the other way, and he's the lead blocker. So it was like almost that exact setup, but then it's like, nope, I'm going into the flat. And he was wide open, and Joe hit him. But it was just little stuff like that I absolutely loved. And, then we just finish the game with just man pound the rock football to score our last touchdown. And it's exactly what I want. We are one of the best rushing teams in the entire country this year, and it needs to continue that way. And it pisses me off even more that we lost to Florida. But I love our rushing attack. I love the three-headed monster. I love the way this offensive line blocks. I cannot say that enough.
Agreed. I was very happy with how the offensive played, even with some mistakes, a little bit of sloppiness here and there. But it does give me confidence moving forward. I want to see them build off that performance against A&M, especially coming off of a bye. Now, sometimes coming off a bye, you can be a little rusty at the beginning. But the bye's coming in a great time. We'll get to that to get some guys healthy. But let's jump into defense. Kyler, I have to start this. Give me.
I'll give you your minute.
The performance by this defense. Now, Spencer Rattler, I don't like him. He is a good.
Hey, listen, they did really well in the Super Bowl, so I'm glad we are 2-0 over the last 2 years. We had the Alabama Super Bowl last year and the South Carolina Super Bowl this year, so we just win Super Bowls here.
I agree. He's a good quarterback. He has played at very, very high levels. Then there's other times he hasn't. And I don't want to take anything necessarily away from the defense of how well they played. Mm. We still understand that South Carolina's offensive line is not the best that we're going to see this year.
Yeah.
But when you're going up against a team that is inferior, you dominate. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And there were so many times where that offensive coaching staff for South Carolina, where I was so impressed with them last year, this year, it was almost like a disrespect to their players because they didn't trust their players at all. I mean, it's 3rd and 10, and they're running shallow routes thinking that they're going to get Xavier Legette to break one free for him again like he did against Mississippi State. And they're doing all the quick passes. I mean, they knew that they had to get rid of it, and whether that's disrespectful to their offensive line or a massive kudos to our D-line, it was still it was awesome to see. But the effort, the swarming, the physicality, the excitement for one another, it was awesome. And that is what you're going to have to keep on, keep that up the rest of the year. I'm going to go back and watch because how much I love the Butler, Michael Butler. Is his name? It was Michael, right? 2 years ago.
Malcolm. It was Malcolm Butler.
Wait. Is Malcolm Butler the ex-Titans player?
Now I'm getting confused.
You have your phone there?
Yeah.
Yeah, pull it up. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Heupel's first year. Anyways, I loved how he played, and I was so impressed with him. But Omar Norman Lott might be taking the cake on how impressed I am with the defensive linemen.
Matthew Butler.
That's it. I knew Michael didn't sound right, and I knew Malcolm. Matthew Butler, I'm sorry, that is no disrespect. I loved how that guy played. I enjoyed watching him. It was every week he surprised me, but Norman Lott is every possession. He's almost surprising. And not to overshadow others, Bryson Eason played a awesome game. I mean, he set the tone to start it. So you saw Dominic Bailey playing a couple really, really nice snaps. And so we know what you're going to get from Big O. We know what you're going to get from Tyler Barron. You know what you're going to get from Roman Harrison. So have a Bryson Eason, to have a Dominic Bailey, to have a newcomer like Omar Norman Lott to do what he's doing, to have Elijah back. Elijah's been gone all year, and he's come back. And I know he had the face mask, but I was so impressed with Elijah when he was in there. He had some nice plays, some nice push. He even had one where he won with a swim move and quickness, which he just ate Buddy up. So the entire D-line, and not to forget. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm happy if Elijah takes up space. I am happy if he can just push two guys together and hold them together and our linebackers come free. Elijah, in the way he plays and the just size that he is, it's that's what I need you to do, buddy. You don't have to be the most athletic guy out there. You don't have to be the fastest, but hey, can you cause a pile? Can you just make it be the immovable object? Then do that.
Right. And he does that. He's done that, plus pushing and resetting line of scrimmage. And like I said, beating guys with quickness. And before I get into James Pearce, like I said, Omar Norman Lott, we talked about him in the stands, and I was giving you a hard time. I was like, you didn't think he was going to be that good? And I said, I loved him, which, to give you credit, you liked Gabe Judy Alley probably more than I did. But Omar Norman Lott has been freaking awesome. Incredible. Not only does he win with quickness, but he's super powerful. He'll reset a line of scrimmage. His motor is second to none. You called it. I didn't rewatch the play on
film. He knocked himself out.
Did you rewatch it on did you see it on, because I didn't see it on Yeah. We saw him just absolutely bulling a china shop, goes and knocks himself out because of how hard he's playing, and you called it when it happened. And then he stood up, and we saw it on the Jumbotron, yeah, buddy's out. So I mean, he's one of my – he's been here
one of the first drives, I even wrote it down in the notes, it might have been the one where they did the fake punt afterwards. I think it was. But Spencer Rattler gets outside of the pocket, and it's he might make the first down.
Yeah,
Omar takes the perfect angle to be able to get in front of him and cut him off, and then John, I think it was Joseph, comes and completes the sack. But it's Omar got that sack.
Well, yeah, because I told you that in the stands. I said, did you just see Omar and Beasley? Aaron Beasley did a good job of coming over top. So it was just great pursuit. Okay, this is the last thing for overview, and then I'm going to start getting into plays. In four games, James Pearce has gone from, wow, nice surprise, nice to have you this year, to, okay, he's good. He's one of the better players on defense, to now he is showing potential to be one of the best edge players in all of college football, and in 2 or 3 years having his name called in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
It is – his speed and quickness is a joke, but he uses his length well. I told you in a couple other games he does a really good job of even against the run, that's a thing that's hey, you can still make a lot of money, make a lot of plays, and be a really good football player if you're just a go-get-the quarterback. They pay those guys really well. Yeah. And he's a taller, leaner guy, and when people can see that he can also help stop the run and he's not a liability, it's scary. Sky's the limit. I mean, as we like to say, dude's a massive problem.
Yeah, seriously. He led the country in quarterback pressures this week. I mean, he was constantly in the backfield. He's the reason Spencer threw the pick to Kamal.
Yep.
He's, multiple reasons he had bad throws. It just in his face. And, we talked about who was going to step up. I thought it was going to be Jonathan Josephs, as being the guy. Joshua Josephs as being the guy. But James is just come out of nowhere. Like he's just like, nah, it's me, dog. Like I got this.
4 games. He's shown it.
4 games. He is at the point now, and he's a sophomore, that when Texas A&M turns on the film after this coming week, they got to go, this is number 27, and he's coming for your ass. Like, you better be prepared because he's got speed off the edge. He can put his hands on you. He's got a great rip and dip. So watch out for him.
Yeah, he's not just a off the edge. I mean, he'll stunt and come inside on games, and I'm telling you, 4 games, and we saw it week 1. But I'm like, yeah, it's Virginia. Like, let's keep, and now it's SEC play, and he was probably the best player on the field. So, anyways, getting into some plays, which that was overview. You're going to hear a lot of those same things, but to get over plays, like I said, defense, Bryson, first play of the game, man. As a defensive player, that's what we want, man. First play of the game, say, fucking run it. Yeah. Or like if you're at safety, throw one across the middle and let me rock somebody or whatever the case. And he gets in there and he gets it. And you were hyped up because I can honestly admit this, that before I've even legitimately finished the play, I am thinking about jumping up and getting the crowd like fired up. And so it's like he makes that and then he's ready to get up and he like kind of trips and someone's still on him. And he just gets up and it's like, hey, I'm here all night. Run at me. Telling his guys, like, follow me, like, let's go. And you love that. You love to see that because that shit is what gets me hyped. If I'm back there at safety or linebacker, I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, let's eat, boy, like all night.
Yeah.
All night.
And it's like it's a confidence boost, too, for you back there to go, I ain't even got to worry about the run. Like, I got this shit back here. You take care of it.
Yeah. I might need to send the University of Tennessee my Regions Bank information. Because they might just need to start depositing me like a third, not a third.
I was wondering when we're gonna say these coaches have been watching the podcast.
They need to cut me just a fourth or half of what they send Tim Banks. It was literally the second play in Elijah's a Spy, and I said, "Thank you for doing it. Thank you for doing it." Now Elijah got a little antsy and he shot his gun well. I mean, when he took off, he went pretty quick. He just did not have a good aiming point, which you mentioned, and Spencer Rattler got out. But I was still just happy to see that. I was like, nice to see that. Yeah. I've already talked about James. Gabe had a great
clutch, man.
I mean, Gabe came in super clutch. I mean, he gets off block and helps make the tackle, and then it's third down. It's third down. They say, you know what? Like, we don't trust your DBs. We saw what Xavier Legette did to Mississippi State. We're going to run another shallow on 3rd and 5. And as someone who has tried to do this, whether when I was at corner or safety or even linebacker, and you're on this side and you're in man, and at the beginning they are running a quick shallow with all that traffic because they want you to pick, and either you have to go under or over, and he goes over, and he
still gets there.
And he still gets there, and when he catches it, Gabe makes a awesome tackle. And it's like, we were like, hey man, if we're playing like this early, like this is not good for South Carolina.
No, we are swarming them, buddy.
Swarming. Then continue on defense. I love Kamal. Kamal's getting blocked, and he still gets a shoulder in there and rocks, buddy. It's like, hey, those little things add up. I'm getting blocked. It's an incomplete pass, or maybe he might have honestly helped dislodge it. But he gets that shoulder in there and gets hyped. I'm like, let's go. Like, let's keep it going.
Show me something. This is the fake toss screen that they ran. I actually like the play. Like the way they set it up with fake toss and then screen back to the other side. I thought it was a great setup. And Beasley got a little juke there, which was kind of like funny to watch when you go back and look at it.
But great job by Tank. Veteran move, just buy time, and it was good hustle by Elijah to get down there and save it. You always make the tackle. You want it if you got a blade of grass to defend, you're still in the game. No.
And that play, and then like a couple plays later with the double pass and trying to set it to Legette. Like I told you this when we were there. When I see that out of an offense early, right? First quarter, they start doing double passes and they start doing these trick pitch throwback kind of stuff. All I'm thinking is they can't run a regular offense. They cannot run their regular offense and get what they need to get done and score points. They have to do these gimmicks because that's all they have. If you're using it in the first quarter, like, buddy, hold on to that. Use it when you need it. They didn't trust, right? Like you just said, like they really did not trust their offense to be able to do it on their own. And, all I thought about before this game, I talked about Leggett. I talked about how good he was. You watched him versus Mississippi State. I watched him versus Georgia. And I'm like, this guy is talented. And then they run that double pass, and I see him like nobody's open. He tries to run. He gets, 10 yards. All I thought about was I was like, we tried to do that with CP when I played, and CP ran it for 40 yards in reverse field twice. I was like, this guy's good, but he's no Cordero Patterson with the ball in his hands. I'll tell you that much.
You also mentioned up there that that's what Florida tried to do to us in 2016. Was it 2016 that you said?
Yeah, it was 2016. Yeah. They did a double pass into the end zone. They scored, and they had like a double reverse earlier that got good gain. And I was like, dude, y'all got to do all this stuff. And that's the only way that your offense is moving down the field. And then it literally stopped. Like they stopped scoring, and we just kept going and kept going and kept going. Because they were like, if I remember correctly, it was like 21-3 or something like that at one point in that game early. And they ended up with 31 points total. Yeah. Like it was like it just stopped because they didn't have any more gimmicks.
That year, Florida and Georgia jumped out on us, and we came back, and so. But anyways, it was hilarious. We were up there, we saw it immediately. We were like double pass, like as if anyone can hear us, and and they played it well though. The DB stayed at home, played it super well, and then James shot out of a rocket. He went inside and under Spencer Rattler instead of staying outside. And, when you're that freakish of an athlete, you think you're going to make the play. And usually coaches will say, hey, if you think you can make it, go inside. He didn't make it. So learning lesson, have a better aiming point, maybe go outside of Rattler, turn it back in. But still.
Yeah, and maybe like, hey, if that was a quarterback, you're probably making that tackle. If it's a wide receiver, then,
well, and
maybe to stay upfield.
And having to dip inside just a fraction to get around Spencer does make a difference. Yeah. But it was a great job holding to a field goal. And then let's see here. Yeah, great job.
That South Carolina, they were holding like crazy. Like the Spencer Rattler touchdown I mentioned earlier, James Pearce absolutely worked Buddy on a swim move, and he just, hugged him. Like that was all he could do, and he got away with it. And I'm like, these guys are literally holding on for dear life. Like they have no shot versus either of them, and they're barely surviving back there.
It would be exactly like if I was coming off the edge against you. You'd be in a blender, bro.
Of course.
You'd be like, hey, can I get a chip? Can I get a back? Anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd put these 11-inch hands in your chest, and we'll see.
Yeah, I eat those things up. All right. So continue defense. Elijah with a nice push. And let's see. I'm sorry now. Okay. So I was talking about Elijah with his nice quickness, forces Rattler out. Nice by Aaron Beasley and others pressuring. Roman also closed gap. So that was a really, really nice play. Yeah. Second and goal. This was the pick play. I yelled it out to you. I felt like a little genius up there because you were like, we would like try to guess stuff, and you said one thing one way, and I said, no, I think they're going to go pick play. And they did the pick play. And Aaron Beasley recognized it so quickly. It was so funny because I understand what South Carolina was trying to do all night, and it had to be so frustrating because all the little tricks of the trade they tried to do, and like we just stopped it like it was no problem. Even on the fourth down, or I'm sorry, even on one of those third downs, or maybe one of the first fourth downs they went where Wesley Walker came up and made the tackle. I said I love the play call, a little play action, try to get Leggett. But anyway,
here's what I think is going on those play calls because Gabe Judy Lally went over the top. Aaron Beasley went over the top. Wesley Walker was playing off So Leggett was coming off of a motion into the flat. They're bad throws. They're setting up. He's not setting up his guys for success. He's not leading them towards the first down. He's throwing it towards the down line, right? And Leggett has to like almost stop the catch and then try and go upfield. Wesley's all over him. Knox, he's catching it at the line of scrimmage and then has to try to. So it just like gives time for the guys to catch up. Like that shit's important.
Agreed.
And Spencer's just missing on it.
Agreed. I don't care what the pass would have been like. Aaron Beasley read that so well, and it was a short side of the field. So I don't think that one would have mattered, but it was awesome by Aaron Beasley. Now the one to Leggett on the fourth down, James Pearce got a great rush. So
That's true.
Rattler did have to step up and try to make it. But I agree with you. That's the one where you got to get it here so the guy can, your guy can turn up. And then the one they touchdown or had a touchdown on, I thought it was a good play by Rattler. I mean, I know there was some holding and some different stuff, but I thought it was a pretty good play by him.
The first thing I noticed was both defensive ends. Roman was coming off one edge and just did a chop rip and absolutely crushed that tackle. And then James Pearce just with a swim move right inside. And I was like, if Spencer didn't take off, he would have been killed.
Yeah. And you know what? As we continue on the rest of the year, if there's not someone that is halfway mobile, watch out. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Max Johnson isn't able to step up and get out of the pocket and stuff, I mean, look out. I know their offensive line is going to be a lot better, but still, I mean, there's still going to be plays where our defensive line they are good enough to still make some impact, even if it's not as much. Okay, so then continuing, Omar, shocker. He's a stud again. I mean, it was just all night. Kamal did a really nice job coming up and making an open field tackle. I would have liked to have seen him wrap up, but you know what? He made the tackle. So it's like if I'm in the film, I said, hey, Kamal, great tackle, great getting your shoulder, flipping the guy basically. I said, but build good habits. Let's bring arms. Let's bring hands so that when we're playing – Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and it's 3rd and 3, and they throw another one out there. Like, let's bring arms. It's just building good habits.
Exactly.
Okay, Kyler, I was pissed when we were in there. I was pissed at the fake punt. Now, one of the reasons I was mad is my fault. I was sending a text, and I look up and I see that they faked it. I was like, yo, how do we give up a fake punt to Beamer and these guys? Like, they've already tried to double pass. We knew they were going to do stuff, but we knew they were going to try. When I went back and watched it, I said, I get it. It was very nicely set up by them.
Yeah, they ran a pick.
And I understand why I'm doing DBs in quotes because really he's a gunner protector or a gunner guy, whatever. I know gunners on offense, whatever you want to call it on defense. And I have been in those positions. And that is one of the more difficult things to do in football. That's why usually you see two dudes out there trying to guard one gunner because it is so difficult. And so when I rewatched it and there's a pick, he's not trying to close in like he's guarding a receiver. He's like, you know what? I still have this alley. Like Leggett's out there. I just need to get to a spot here down the field to make a block. So it makes sense why it was a good play by them. It was executed well, but there's not really a fault.
And
I forget. Did you see who it was? It was 28.
I can't remember who it was that really got picked, and it's also like that is something gunner like will do on a punt as they will swap with each other.
Right.
Like it's like, oh, it's a punt. Like no, like in their eyes, they're like, oh, they're trying to pick us off for a punt. Right. They're not like, oh, they're trying to pick us off for a catch.
Exactly. And that's why I didn't fault it. I mean, it was. Yeah, that's just not something you're thinking in that there was nothing that could have told them, hey, this is a fake. So It looked like the rest of the guys were still somewhat trying to play like a safe zone. On the guys on the inside were, but let's see. Continuing on defense, third
this
one, right?
We got to that 4th down I was talking about. The play before that, Eason absolutely blew the center up.
8 up, bro. 8 up. It was Bryson Eason, unbelievable push. Tyler Barron, great push. Aaron Beasley, perfect read step, scrape and gassed it up to get in there, beautiful hit and tackle.
The best part about Bryson Eason, his push, is like he just stonewalls that center, pushes him back 2 yards. The center has to just like torque and try and put Easton on the ground, and Easton literally doesn't try to start a fight, doesn't try to like do anything else, just like tries to get up and hold his hand up like fourth down, like fuck you. Like it doesn't matter if I'm on the ground back here and I didn't make a tackle. It's fourth down.
There was multiple times in this game, James Pearce, Bryson Eason, Tyler Barron, maybe a couple other guys where they literally made the play or made the tackle by just resetting the line of scrimmage and driving their guy back like multiple yards. There was one, if we were still doing, like if you were still putting in all the plays and editing and stuff for these different things, there was one I would have taken a picture of. Every single defensive lineman of ours had one of their offensive linemen walk a legitimate 5 yards back. Every single player. You rarely see that where the entire D line sets the line of scrimmage by 5 yards. It was first down. If you're watching, it was first down line, black line that shows the line of scrimmage, and then here was everyone. It was so 4th and 2. The entire line was. Oh, this is it. The 4th and 2. This is it. Okay, funny.
Yeah.
4th and 2. The entire line was reset by 5 yards. They brought Leggett in motion. We've already talked about it. Great job by Wesley. This was another one, too, where they brought him, and you saw that our DBs, everyone knew what was going on. Our DBs passed it off. Wesley's like, hey, I got it. I see it. We didn't run in motion. He eats it up. It was a great pass off. And the pressure, which led to that throw. So it was outstanding.
Yeah, incredible.
Having here, Kyle, that was the 3rd and 10 later on. They tried to run a screen. And it was James Pearce through the tackle.
Absolutely wrecks, buddy.
I mean, I'm not saying he's like this person, but it was very reminiscent of Reggie White just humping, throwing the hump and throwing buddy, and then it was really nice by Wesley.
I mean, I've never been embarrassed like that in my life. Like I could not imagine what that guy was going through. He's already getting cooked all night, holding his ass off, and then all of a sudden James hits him with the hump move and just plants him.
Just throws him. I mean, he threw another human being, and then Wesley Walker played a really nice game all night. It felt like he was the one making all the big tackles, and so he recognized it well, which we had a freshman that we'll talk about here in a second that had a really nice recognition. Defense, this is after Brew's injury, so it was like, hey, guys, you and I have actually been in 2 games, unfortunately. One was a state championship game where the exact Brew injury happened to one of your classmates, a great kid. Yeah. And then we had another one, which was just absolutely horrendous. It is so difficult to reset and go back in a game on something like that. And so
which when the offense and that drive just kind of stalled, I was kind of like, I get it. Like we took a, 10-minute break here to help out your buddy who just, there's a lot of emotions going on. So I was like, totally understand.
You are feeling really, really bad for him, and you're like, you're feeling bad for him. You're kind of like almost in disbelief. Did that just happen? Then maybe you're feeling bad because you feel like there was something that you could have done differently. And then it's like, I'll just admit there's times where like, wow, what if that happens to me in these upcoming plays? And you have to get rid of that one really quick, because if you play scared to get hurt, you're probably going to get hurt because you're not playing fast. So you got to get rid of that one quick. Yeah. And then you just, when you go play football, you go to a different mindset. Like you have to go to a different mindset, and that flip has to switch to where you physically want to, impose yourself and harm others. And so it goes from like, you play this mental game of like, I'm about to go be a warrior. I'm about to go knock somebody out. And then it's like all those emotions are gone. And then you have to like find a way in the middle of the game to ramp those back up. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. Amari, JP, push sack, and that's Amari Thomas, had the nice push sack, and JP pressed him up into the pocket. 3rd and 4th team. It was a very nice run by the Rat, but Wesley Walker again closed.
Great open tackle. I mean, that's tough. You got man coverage way back to recognize it, come up, then make the actual tackle. Like that was impressive by Wesley.
When you're watching on TV, I mean, he was like, bang, like you don't see him, and then you see him, and it's like tackle, hold the fist up. It's like, damn, nice. Like that kind of came out of nowhere. Defense, we got freshmen, bro. We got some freshmen. We got some freshmen coming in, and and they had a freshman on the offensive line, and Tyler Barron. I just have LOL. I said Tyler Barron versus a freshman. LOL. It was ridiculous, and they made him step up. Big O has his guy in the pocket, and they trip Rattler. So another sack, and then our freshmen show up big time. Aaron Carter, we just talked about it. You said, hey, Reed, I felt like I could notice him being a freshman. This was a veteran play. He's got 3 offensive linemen in front of him. He doesn't get caught watching ball. He's got his eyes on his key, which is the running back, shoots through it, makes a tackle, and I love how hyped up he gets. I mean, you can almost tell sometimes when they're a freshman in the game because they're so excited to make a play. Like, they almost celebrate, like, everything because they're just so excited to be there. Like, T-Lander made a tackle 8 yards downfield, which, by the way, was a good tackle, and he's, like, flexing on Buddy.
Yeah. I loved having the freshman linebackers in there. I thought they played really well, and, like, I love how T-Lander, like, he goes in there, right? Like, he's not afraid to put his head in that pile, and, like, there's not an offensive lineman who's going to make it up to him and try and block him without him hitting him first. Like, T-Lander's going to hit you first every time.
We'll get there. Yes, he did that, and we'll get there. Aaron Carr sniffs it out, which leads to the pick. Give credit to James Pearce, how insanely fast he got off the ball, made Rattler step up, let the ball go. How dumb are you, Shane Beamer? How dumb are you? It's a 7-point game. There's 54 seconds before half. It is 3rd and 22 because it was 3rd and 17.
Yeah.
Did you get a penalty? What are you doing? What are you doing? Go in. I don't want to say, I have faith. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to win the game. Like, there's times in that not when you're backed up and it's 3rd and 22. You're not going to get a 3rd and 22. It's just not going to happen.
And also, like, Buddy ran a 5-yard hitch.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that? That's the play call?
Exactly.
Might as well just run it.
Right. If you're going to throw it, like, throw a seam, throw a deep shot. Like, by the way, they didn't throw hardly any deep shots, and maybe that was because they knew they didn't have time to, but I really thought they would at least try to force a couple. Even if they did, like, a play-action 8-man protection with only a 2-man route, I thought they would try to test our DBs deep. They didn't because they were so successful on it last year. But 3rd and 22, and you do that. That is coaching malpractice. And that looked like an easy pick. I can promise you when they replayed it on TV, as a DB who has tried to make that, or even as a receiver who's tried to make the catch, you do not understand how difficult it is when someone is right in front of you going up, because then you lose traction of the ball. When you're taught, when you're like 3 years old, 6 years old, and you're playing golf, you're playing football, you're playing baseball, keep your eyes on the ball. Well, that going up here, and it didn't really tip. So it wasn't like Kamal got to catch on a tip. That was such an impressive catch. And he made the play. It looked like in the stadium, it was thrown right to him. Yeah, you got to make that play. Like, no, I've seen a lot worse drops by a lot worse DBs. Hell, I've seen a couple of them in the NFL recently that it was a walk-in touchdown. So great job by Kamal. And it's just a difficult catch to make. It really is.
Yeah, I completely agree. When I watched it, I was like, dude, it's you have no idea where the ball's going to go, and it's 10 feet in front of you. Like, that's pretty much what it is. When it's right next to his hands, you don't know how it's going to hit, if it's going to hit his hands, and if it does, which direction it's going. Is it going to drop? Is it going to pop up? Like, it is the worst. And then if it doesn't touch his hands, it gets to you faster.
Right.
And you're like,
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of balls, whether I was on offense or defense, that I've dropped because you run and you make that break, and then you see him go up. So you kind of stop like, hey, I'm going to get this bounce. And it goes right through him, and you're like, oh, dang it, keep running. Or then you run through it and it pops up and you can't stop your momentum in time. So just great catch by him. And I love that, I didn't get to see what Danico did. I saw it in the stands, and it looked like him and Rattler were talking. I didn't see exactly what he did, but Turbeville puts it out of bounds. It was a pretty darn good boot distance-wise, but it goes out of bounds, and it's like, okay, Shane Beamer thinks he's going to go for it again. And it's like Dominic Beasley and James Pearce just get a sack, and then it's just like they have one more play after that, but it's nothing really. Yeah. And then okay, I've got 2 more plays of defense here, or 2 more pages. I'm going to talk quick.
Yeah.
That long run that they scored. That was a bummer. And let me say this too. I never really, after Kamal's pick and after how we came out of halftime on offense, I honestly was never really worried about losing the game. Even when they were leading, you and I were talking about that as we walked to meet my mom. I was never really worried. And when
they felt like we were in control.
Whole time.
Yeah.
And even when they broke that long run, I was just kind of annoyed. I was like, I hate that for stats wise for our team, because our defense has played a well of the game. I hate that for the stats. I mean, it kind of killed momentum in the stadium, but it never was like, here comes South Carolina. Like they're going to come back. I never felt that. I watched it. I want to know your opinion. I don't really think it was necessarily anything bad that we did. It wasn't abysmal eyes. It wasn't like we were so out of the pocket. I just thought it was great blocking on their
part. I thought it was really good blocking. I thought they set it up well. I think there could have been a little bit better just like gap integrity by guys, just like fitting where you're supposed to. I think Elijah can learn a little bit from T-Lander on how to take on an offensive lineman. A lot of times I feel like he just waits and sits there and like waits for him to block. Like that is not what you need to do. That is a prized possession to me. Just sit there. Don't move. Because as an offensive lineman, you're going up to block somebody who's faster than you, who's quicker than you. It's like, oh shit, I don't know which way he's going to move. I got to kind of break down and block him whatever way. If you just stand there, you're making my job easy. Like hit the offensive lineman before he hits you, take a side of him, like try and fight across his face, make it to where you can kind of set it up where he's in one gap, you're in another. Like do something. Don't let him come into you though. And I think Elijah's done that a lot this year. I think it has to be a coaching point moving forward. Use your hands, man. Punch him first.
Or use your quickness. One of my favorite players for the Titans the past couple of years was David Long. I swear the guy's probably 5'9", 5'10", like 215 pounds. I mean, he has to be one of the smallest linebackers I've ever seen. But he was so good for the Titans because he wouldn't even let a guy get his hands on him. He'd just cut underneath him and go right by him and make a tackle in the backfield. I mean, if that's how you play, that's how you play. I mean, no one's going to call you a chicken or no one's going to call you, the P word or whatever. It's like, bro, if you make a tackle, nobody cares. Like we don't think you're dodging contact. Okay. Another one. This is a good note, right, Kyler? Omar, again, amazing.
So you're like, I'll remember what play that is.
I love it. Doesn't matter what play it was. It was just he was being amazing. And I'm not saying like, pretty good play. Like it was an amazing play where he dumps Buddy, gets it, and then gets up and does his little like whatever. Okay, this is just an outline of how you play defense. They get a nice run. T-Lander pursues it, gets a tackle. Literally 8 yards downfield. He gets excited because he brought the wood a little bit, but it's 2nd and 2. Most people are thinking, hey, you know what? They're gonna get a first down, then we'll reset. Exactly. T-Lander pursues it, and then it's 2nd and 2. Tyler Barron, Elijah, Big O, Roman, Tank, Aaron Carter. All of them play it well. They all force it. They all do a great job. 3rd and 1. You don't block Tyler Barron because they want to do like a read option. He makes the tackle. Elijah gets a nice stone wall. And then T-Lander, this is the one that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. T-Lander comes from about 5-6 yards, and he rocks the guard. And the only reason that guard did not go on his butt is because he's got about 60, 70 pounds on T-Lander. But T-Lander literally sent him back when he was like back. He couldn't. Sometimes you big fatties will rock you. We'll rock you and your head will jolt back, but you'll still be able to get your hands on us. Yeah. No, this guy got shot, like rocked back, and T-Lander didn't even have to disengage. And then he's there to help Tyler Barron, and then Aaron Carter comes and presses it. And then it's 4th and 1. So we've gone from a 2nd and 2 to now it's a 4th and 1 with basically it's a huge play in the game. And we eat that son of a gun up. I mean, you got Elijah and Amari Thomas getting that push. Roman Harrison shoots it. T-Lander, Aaron Carter goes slightly over the top. And it was like, for me, it was like, that's pretty much almost the game. And that's why you play every down, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, just incredible performance by this defense when you see that kind of stuff. And, in the game, we talked about it, like Omar knocks himself out on that one play. And Tamarian, like, he literally almost had a pick on like a really long third down. It hit him in the hands and just bounced out, and they got a first. But every other thing besides that, this defense was all over it. Like, they literally scored their first touchdown because of an interception by Joe, just put them in a horrible position. They scored their next touchdown because of one run on offense. And you take that away, they had 3 field goals. Like, this defense played great.
Yeah. And the other thing is, too, which everybody was getting rowdy about, the play that Bryson Eason made on the almost safety was another unbelievable play. I mean, it literally was, holy crap, did you see Omar Norman live? Holy crap, did you just see Bryson Eason? Holy crap, you should have seen James Pearce. I mean, multiple times. And Jordan Thomas comes in, and I had not noticed him before this, but he comes in, and he comes like a freaking rocket. And I can promise you he is a good-sized guy for a defensive back because we've seen him up close. And he comes in, and I know that had to hurt. Because he hit that guy so hard, but that guy had just gotten hit by Bryson Eason.
Yeah.
So he comes in and absolutely rocks Buddy. And then Joshua Joseph. He gets in, he gets his 19-inch long arms just swinging around. He hits Buddy with the inside move, gets back there, almost forces a safety. And then it's just like, it was, like you said, it was a great defensive effort. And I wanted to shout out Jordan Thomas because I've always liked him and I've liked his physicality and size. But it's just, I wanted to shout him out because it's like I had not noticed him in the game. And the minute he comes in the game, he's making an impact play. And that just shows what a team win looks like, where there's multiple guys doing what they're supposed to do and absolutely having a great performance as a whole team. Because this really was an absolute team win. Bye week, get healthy, rest up. What do you have?
Have to, yeah. I mean, going into the bye week, like we're 5-1, right? Or 4-1. So we got the one loss. If we hold our destiny in our hands, we got to win out, which looking at what I've seen on tape from our team, the good things, if those good things are more consistent, then we can beat every team that we're playing, right? There's not like the Georgia of last year or the year before where you look at it and you're like, dude, you're not touching them. The defense is just unbelievable. There's no way that we can win that game. Like Georgia lets teams stay in it. They let South Carolina stay in it. They're about to play Kentucky this upcoming week, and that's going to be an interesting one. Like, I cannot wait to see that. If somehow Kentucky beats Georgia and the Kentucky game sets up to where we can take away their SEC champ hopes, I'm going to be lapping it up.
Well, it's up there this year, and I still think that this team is going to be a lot different. I think we could be 8.5 at home. And I'm not talking about points, but I'm talking about if I'm rating this team 1 out of 10, I think at home we could play 8.5. And then if we're on the road, I've seen it where we can throw up a 4 or a 5. So I need to see it on the road. But anyways, bye week, get healthy. It was great seeing you. Great pod.
Be good. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave us a comment. We absolutely love them. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, and follow us on all those listening platforms. Also follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram, at rbacon26 for Reed, at Kyler Kerbyson for myself on all social medias. And like I said before, if you guys are taking pictures with us, post them. We want to see them. Thank you guys so much for all your support. So happy the Vols got a win going into the bye. And as always, go Vols.